a diver's greatest dream, and also their worst nightmare, all rolled into one: the Great Blue Hole.
The Great Blue Hole is one of the most striking natural formations on Earth. But do you know what lies beneath this beautiful surface? For most of human history, there was simply no way to explore it. At such depths, light fades, oxygen drops, pressure rises to levels that the human body cannot survive. Even basic movement becomes difficult. These conditions made human exploration nearly impossible for decades. But recently, instead of sending humans, scientists decided to send remotely controlled drones and submersibles into the depths. These vehicles passed through toxic layers, total darkness, and absolute silence. And what they found has left everyone shocked. So what did these new machines find? Were there traces of ancient civilizations? Or something entirely out of place in the natural world? Let's get into it. A perfect ocean circle. Out in the open ocean, far from coastlines, highways, and city lights, there is a place that looks almost unreal. From above, it appears as a perfect circle, a dark blue disk set into lighter turquoise water. Coral reefs surround it, waves break gently at its edges, and sunlight reflects off the surface. From the outside, everything looks calm, beautiful, and safe. This is the Great Blue Hole. It sits off the coast of Belize, near the Lighthouse Reef Atoll, and it has become one of the most photographed underwater landmarks on Earth. Seen from the air, or even from space, it looks like a natural design carved into the sea. But the Blue Hole isn't famous just because of how it looks. It's famous because of what it shouldn't be. How does something this large, this deep, and this perfectly shaped exist in the middle of the ocean? To understand that, we have to go back to the last ice age, tens of thousands of years ago. At that time, sea levels were much lower than they are today. Areas that are now underwater were once dry land. Rainwater slowly seeped into the ground and dissolved the limestone beneath the surface. Over long periods, this process created extensive underground caves and tunnel systems. Then the climate began to change. As glaciers melted, sea levels rose. Ocean water flooded these underground caves, and their ceilings gradually weakened. Eventually, parts of the cave roofs collapsed, leaving behind massive sinkholes. One of those sinkholes, filled with seawater, became what we now call the Great Blue Hole. Over time, coral grew around its edges, smoothing its shape and making it look calm and natural from the surface. But below the waterline, the hole drops straight down, and the light fades quickly. Divers could only descend so far before conditions became too dangerous. Because of this, much of the Blue Hole remained unexplored. The limits of diving. For years, the Great Blue Hole and places like it pulled in divers who believed they understood the risks. Not just the one in Belize, but others too. Deep ocean sinkholes and underwater caves scattered across the world. They all shared the same reputation: beautiful, extreme, and unforgiving. Many of the divers who entered them were experienced. Some were instructors. Others were there for money or prestige. And despite official depth limits and strict safety rules, divers were often taken deeper than allowed, quietly, off the record. One of the most documented cases happened in April 2000. A scuba instructor named Yuri Lipsky traveled to Dahab with one clear goal: to dive Egypt's Blue Hole. He brought his own gear, his own camera, and the confidence that comes from years underwater. On the day of the dive, Yuri entered the water using regular compressed air, even though it becomes dangerous beyond 40 meters. His camera captured everything. At first, the footage feels calm, almost peaceful. But as Yuri descends, following bubbles rising from below, the light fades, the blue water darkens. At around 81 meters, nitrogen narcosis takes hold. He becomes disoriented. his movements slow. Buoyancy control is lost. The camera begins to fail. The final moments show confusion and panic. Then darkness. Yuri's body was later recovered at 91 meters, face down, heavily weighted, in complete silence. And his story was not unique. For decades, the deepest parts of these blue holes remained unreachable. Not because of curiosity, but because humans simply couldn't survive there. That is, until technology finally made it possible to go deeper than any diver ever could. Mapping the blue hole. In 2018, a team led by Aquatica Submarines launched the first whole submersible expedition into the Great Blue Hole. Instead of divers, they used human-occupied submersibles and remotely operated systems designed to withstand immense pressure. These machines could descend far beyond the normal diving limits. The advantages were immediate and absolute. Submersibles do not breathe. They are unaffected by nitrogen narcosis. They do not panic. They can remain at depth for hours, holding position with precision while recording every detail. The mission's primary goal was ambitious: to create a complete three-dimensional map of the blue hole's interior, something no diver could ever accomplish. As the submersibles descended, their cameras captured a transformation few had ever witnessed. Near the surface, the footage looks almost familiar. Coral clings to the rim, reef fish pass through shafts of sunlight. The water is clear, bright, alive. But as the vehicles drop deeper, past 60 meters, then 80, the scene begins to empty. Fish disappear. Color drains away. The limestone walls stand bare and pale, carved by processes older than human history. Around 90 meters, the descent crosses a boundary. A thick layer of hydrogen sulfide fills the hole, stretching from wall to wall like an underwater cloud. It is toxic, dark, and barely moves. As the submersible passes through it, light quickly fades. This layer marks a clear boundary. Above it, some life still survives. Below it, oxygen nearly disappears. But the most shocking thing is the silence. There is no movement, no current, and no sound at all. It feels like a whole new world, cut off from the ocean above, the graveyard below. As the submersibles continued their slow descent, they began encountering something no geological model could fully prepare them for. Lying on ledges and slopes were objects that had no business being there: lost weight belts, fragments of dive gear, and cameras that had followed their owners into the dark and never returned. Among them were GoPros, still sealed in their housings, resting exactly where gravity had carried them. The blue hole was full of these things. But it wasn't only human artifacts that told a story. Beneath the hydrogen sulfide layer, the sea floor itself became a record of deep time. By analyzing their composition, researchers could trace cycles of intense hurricanes, periods of calm seas, and even global climate events reaching back tens of thousands of years. Some layers indicated prolonged droughts in Central America, a sealed climate vault. As researchers compared these findings with data from other blue holes, a pattern began to emerge. The Great Blue Hole was not unique. It was part of a global system. In the South China Sea, the Dragon Hole plunges nearly 300 meters and contains similar layers of anoxic water and hydrogen sulfide. In Mexico, scientists recently mapped the Tamja Blue Hole, one of the deepest known blue holes on Earth. Across continents and oceans, the same story repeated itself. Blue holes are not anomalies. They are windows into Earth's climatic past, into extreme biology, and into environments humans were never meant to enter. For centuries, they hid their secrets in the depths and darkness. Only when machines replaced humans did those secrets finally surface. What the Great Blue Hole revealed was more than a geological mystery. It showed the limits of human exploration and the quiet power of places that exist beyond those limits. What do you think? What else is hidden in the parts of our planet we cannot reach? Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. If you liked this video, ensure you give it a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, because we will be uploading more crazy stories like this one in the coming weeks. Until then, see ya!